All right, it's a 20-question quiz. So you need to get in here and get it done as fast as you can. Good. We will go over anything else that you need tomorrow. If you have any specific questions on the review, ask them tomorrow. Chapter 5 and 6. Chapter 5, Mr. Fierro went over with you. Chapter 6, we haven't been able to really discuss. And it's a very important chapter. So tomorrow we'll do all that. Today, as promised, I told you guys last week that you're going to have a guest speaker. This is your journal for today. So make sure you're writing this down as your journal entry.
Motivational Monday.
Yeah, Motivational Monday. You're gonna write down a brief summary of what you're hearing. You're gonna write down any important things that you feel is important or strike you. And I would suggest to jot down 1 or 2 questions to ask Major Cairnes. Okay? Brief background, and he's gonna give you more of the background. Major Cairnes and I grew up together. Okay, have been lifelong friends. Still very, very much a part of my life. Sees Logan and Mackenzie and the family whenever he's down, okay, from wherever he is, okay, and he's done this now for the last 2 years, but at Pinelands he did this 1 year too, right?
That's right,
Yep. He came over to Pinelands and chatted it up a little bit. Last year was kind of impromptu. I caught him at traveling to and from the one location where he was coming from to Fort Benning, Georgia. He came down just to stop in. I said, hey, why don't you come and talk? He thought it was going to be for 40 minutes. It ended up being for like 6 hours because I got him for like all different classes. All right. Obviously, this year he actually came to me and said, "Hey, why don't I come and talk to your classes?" And he'll give you more of his background and stuff that he's experienced. But give him your attention. Ask some good questions. Period 4. Ask some awesome questions. Yes. Well, your journals. Okay. So yeah, just hold on to them right now. All right, yep, give it to me after. Yes? Yes. So, grab them. Grab them so you guys can talk. And then before the period, just give them back. All right, good? All right, Major Cairnes. Here we go.
All right, good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm doing well, thanks. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm honored to have the opportunity to talk to you guys. Don't say that lightly. I appreciate getting the time, and I appreciate Mr. Roboto giving me the platform to kind of come talk to you and share some of my experiences through my last 13 or 14 years of my career, and really kind of what brought me to do what it is I do today, and kind of what I'm going to kind of provide to you is a little bit of, not to say advice necessarily, just kind of some understanding of what's out there, what the Army can possibly provide you, with military in general can provide you, if anything at all. So I'll start out by obviously covering the agenda, talking about this is real straightforward, who I am, why I'm here, why I'm not here, overview of the U.S. Army, and then of course open it up to questions. Got some really good questions in the last section. There's about 3 or 4 people that were really engaged, so I think they kind of set the bar, so I really appreciate that, because this could be kind of a long, laborious thing if I just talk for 40 minutes, and I'm sure you guys probably have some questions that I might be able to field, and really just about anything, not necessarily about the Army. I used to be a student here, obviously. Graduated in 02. I sat in that desk right there, blue sweatshirt, was flipped the other direction now. I had Miss Parks for junior English. Advanced English, right?
Advanced,
yeah. I wasn't AP at that point. I got bumped down. I wasn't smart enough. All right, so who am I, right? So I graduated from Southern Regional in 2002. Well, I graced these halls with my presence. I participated in a number of different activities, right? I played soccer, ran track, indoor and outdoor. Baker was actually my coach for his first year here, so I know him from a long, long time ago. Wrote for the high school newspaper for 2 years, and then I also was a part of Key Club, I think, the Rotary thing. They work out in the community. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it. So after graduation, went to Rutgers University, graduated in 06, December of 06, got my history degree. You're looking at what you usually use a history degree for. You're either a teacher or you're an officer in the Army. So that just kind of gives you some insight there. You go to college, you go to history degree, right? So then later on in life, I went back to school, got my master's in National Defense and Security Studies. It's really kind of a pretty way of saying like military and defense type studies. I got that from the United States Naval War College up in Newport, Rhode Island. So Just recently graduated from there last year. So my service up to this point has been largely focused in the kind of the middle of the country. I first got stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, Colorado Springs, where the United States Air Force Academy is. It's about an hour south of Denver and 2 hours east of Monarch Mountain, Keystone, Copper, all the big mountains up there on the Front Range. Steamboat and Aspen are a little further to the west. While I was there, I was a scout platoon leader. What that means to you is I had about 24, 25 soldiers, roughly all about your age, 18 to 24, where I was responsible for their well-being, their training, as well as deploying them to and from Iraq. During my time there, I also served as a troop executive officer, which means I was a second in command of an organization of about 100 people responsible for maintenance, training, and things of that nature. Then later on, I was a staff officer. Very you guys have seen Band of Brothers. I was the Rod Livingston character, Captain Nix, doing all the planning, while Captain Winters and the boys went out and executed the missions. So that's what I did when I was in Afghanistan. Later on, I transitioned to Fort Riley, Kansas. If anybody's familiar with K-State, Kansas State Wildcats basketball football team, college, that's where the university is. So it's a large university, college, and military town. While I was there, I was a logistics officer, where I was the person responsible for budgeting for the battalion, person responsible for forecasting maintenance requirements, getting things fixed on time, and basically sustaining operations, ensuring that we could do stuff. By stuff I mean training. Later on, I commanded 2 cavalry organizations. I'm an armor officer, so I was a captain, but I'm an armor officer. So I commanded a troop of 90, and then I commanded a second troop of about 120. The second troop I was able to deploy to Jordan in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. So that is that was a unique deployment versus the other 2. I was able to go over and train up the Jordanian Border Guard Force. So Jordan, if you're not familiar with kind of the landscape of the Middle East, is kind of stuck right in the middle of everything that's going on. Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Israel on their borders. So I was able to have a direct impact on their ability to train and protect their homeland, which is kind of a neat experience. Taking a group of kids, and I say kids because they're about 16 years old, taking them from knowing absolutely nothing to being able to defend their borders was something that was incredibly rewarding. So I say this because I'm trying to articulate or convey to you guys that a lot of what makes the Army unique, the military service unique, is just what you get out of it. It's more than just going to Iraq, Afghanistan. It's kind of the minutia, the small things that kind of really make the service worthwhile. So not only developing people like you, soldiers and stuff, but also your partner nations and understanding that you have an impact on the larger scale of things going on outside of our borders in the United States. So after that, I went to Fort Irwin, California. So Fort Irwin, California is right smack in between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. You think, oh, that's awesome, you're in the middle of everything. No, it's 4 hours to Los Angeles on a good day, and 2.5 hours to Las Vegas on a good day. It's right in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Anybody got family in the Marine Corps? Okay, 29 Palms is right next to where we live. So it's literally in the middle of the desert. It's 125 degrees out in the summer. It's not awesome. But had a lot of fun there. Great time. That's a joke. But anyway, so then I moved over to become the executive officer for the United States Army's Infantry School Functional Training Battalion. So we were responsible for training the United States Army snipers, United States Army combatives programs, United States Army Bradley, and different leader courses. So it's where the United States Army goes to get trained. That was my battalion. I was second in command of it. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. So deployments recently, I touched on this a little bit earlier. Iraq from 08 to 10. Well, you guys are probably in elementary school, right? You guys 18, right? Well, okay. Then from 11 to 12, I was in Afghanistan, where I served in Kandahar City. And then from 15 and 16, I was in Jordan, serving as a commander. So the pictures on the right-hand side, just some things I just wanted to throw up there so you can kind of picturize what I'm saying. Like everything over here is over here, minus this one. All right, so this is when I was in command. That's my Bradley crew, top gun of the troop. We were pretty good. Enjoyed that time immensely. So the hat on my head is not standard military attire. It's a traditional piece. It's a cavalry Stetson. I was a cavalryman. You know, our lineage goes back to, you know, manifest destiny, allowing people to move west. That's why we wear the hat. I always loved it because it protects my neck and ears from the sun. As you can tell, I'm quite red. So, again, wearing the hat in Jordan, same kind of concept, same organization. This is when I was transitioning command. I was getting fired, so to speak. I was moving on to something else. On the bottom left, this is actually kind of a funny photo. I was a lieutenant, just got into Iraq at the Victory Base complex, and if you're not familiar with it, I'm sure none of you guys really are, but it's a long time ago now. Saddam owned a huge complex of all these palaces inside of Baghdad, where he built a man-made lake and all this kind of other neat stuff because he was obviously the ruler of the country. After we took over Iraq, we took over the compound. So there I am hitting golf balls, I think probably on his back porch at one point, into the lake that he built. And the funny thing about it is I'm wearing obviously my pistol, because you always have to have your weapon on. So that to me will always kind of strike me as a humorous photo, considering where I was in the world and what I was doing. That's not what I did all 12 months of that deployment. That was about 5 minutes of the year. So I promise you that your tax dollars were put to good use when I was there, I promise. Or at least your parents' tax. Anyway, so over here, it's me jumping out of an airplane. Good times. It's a lot of fun to do when you're young, but when you're 35, not great on the knees. So I don't do that anymore. All right, any questions on this stuff, on who I am, where I came from? All right, some further discussion about my time at Southern. I think I told you about everything I did, right? Yeah, this is like third class, so I'm getting a little forgetful. But yeah, I'll go up on the next thing. All right, so now we're going to transition to why I'm here. So here it kind of provides you guys some first-hand experiences, insights of a career in the United States Army. I have some joint time. I've worked with the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and then also different countries of our allies. So I can provide some kind of minor insights to a career in those fields. Specifically, I can provide the best information about a career in the Army. Debunk preconceived notions and misunderstanding about the U.S. Army. There's a lot of people out there who say they know things and they don't really know what they're talking about. So here I am, here to kind of provide you any answers to questions to the best of my ability. There's a saying in the Army, you stay in your lane when you're talking about things. So if there's any question you ask me, I don't have the answer, or I can't really speak to it, I'll just tell you flat out that I can't answer your question. Address questions, concerns about people or students interested in serving their nation. Allow for a non-attributional, I should say, dialogue. So, you know, as I'll say in the next slide, I'm not a recruiter. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to be an honest, unbiased broker and tell you basically exactly what the Army is and can be. The good, bad, and the ugly. Trust me, there's a lot of nights sleeping in places that are not fun. Then also, I think probably the biggest point is to create the shared understanding and enhance the civil-military relationship. So about 370 million Americans out there, and 1% serve. So that's a large break, or a large portion of the population that doesn't really serve. And that's fine. It's not a judgment. I don't really care who does or doesn't. I do it because I love it. But what I'm saying is, I'm here to answer any questions to kind of help bridge that gap, help people understand what it is when you see something on Veterans Day or you see something on Memorial Day. You understand like what it is we're even talking about. And I'm here to kind of help that. Okay, why I'm not here? I'm not here to tell war stories. They're boring. They get really repetitive. They're stupid. You want to like go watch Fury, Black Hawk Down. No. I'm not here to recruit. That's somebody else's job. I'm not here to tell you to join the Army. I promise you that. If you want to join the Army, that's awesome. But I'm not here to do that specifically. And then I'm not here to waste your time. All right. I'm a very blunt and honest guy, largely in part because I happen to deal with people of your age group all the time. They don't deal well with a lot of nonsense. They want to know exactly what it is that they're here to do. And that's what I'm hopefully going to do with you guys today. All right. So, a brief overview of the United States Army and where our units are stationed currently. Not stationed, but where they're based out of. Probably a more appropriate characterization of this slide. So, up in the Northeast, you got some light fighters. These are your ground dudes. They walk around a lot, right? I don't do that. I'm an armor officer. I ride tanks and Bradleys. Why walk when you can ride? My motto. I know you guys find that very funny. Apparently not. All right, great. Good times. You guys are really making this really difficult. I mean, we've got, what, 35 more minutes? Whew. All right, cool. Now we've got Third ID down here. They're dog-faced soldiers. They're stationed in the vicinity of they're at Fort Stewart, but they're in the vicinity of Savannah, Georgia. So Savannah, Georgia, beautiful place. One of the few places in the United States Army you can be stationed where I could actually say it's a beautiful place and not be full of it. Right? Savannah's a great city. Then you have the 101st Airborne Division. These guys rappel out of helicopters. They do a lot of cool stuff. They think they're better than these guys. I personally don't care, because all they do is walk. All right. 1st Cavalry Division down in Fort Hood, Texas. These guys are about an hour north of Austin, Texas. So Austin, Texas is a great place to go. You can't really live there, but it's a cool place to go visit while you're stationed down there. The reality is, no matter where you're stationed, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to see these places anyway. But if you've got a weekend free, it's better to have somewhere cool to go versus not have somewhere cool to go. This is where I was, 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas. That's right in Manhattan, Kansas, as I explained earlier, Kansas State. Then you got the 1st Armored Division at Fort Bliss, Texas, their vicinity of El Paso. If you guys remember the news about 4 months ago, there was a shooting at an El Paso mall. And there was a soldier that responded and saved some people's lives. Well, he was a soldier in one of those, in that division. He was stationed in El Paso. So, I'm not saying you should be in the Army to go save lives at shootings at malls, but it's for context. There it is. Okay. And then 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson, Colorado. It's on the front range of the Rocky Mountains. Vicinity of Colorado Springs, about an hour south of Denver, about 2 hours east of a lot of your major ski resorts. So, if you like to ski, it's a cool place to go. If not, it's a great place to fish or hike or whatever. And then you've got some guys that are located outside the CONUS, United States. You've got people up in Alaska, and then people out in Hawaii. These guys are light. These guys are strikers. And then you've got JBLM, which is near Seattle. So I've been there as well. It's a beautiful place in August. It's not beautiful in March because it rains a lot. But any questions on this? Anybody have anybody that knows served or anything like that? Parents, what do you know?
Well, my grandfather, I don't know where, but he was moved into Texas and then was moved over to Austria. And then my great grandfather was in Army intelligence during the First and Second World War.
Oh, really?
So he was out in Germany and then Austria, everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, it tends to happen. You tend to go everywhere in the Army. What about you?
My uncle was, but he was killed in Iraq.
Oh, geez. Sorry to hear that.
I was two.
What's that?
I was two.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we all know. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Okay. So these are types of units that are out there. Other than the ones we kind of went over before, I'll touch on a couple of the ones that I know up top. So we got the Special Forces guys, right? So these guys are the small unit guys. They go out in about 8 to 10 man teams. They've got subject matter experts on every portion of their mission. They're highly trained. It's a very selective, laborious process in order to get into Special Forces. They don't take anybody off the street, and it's high up tempo, very rapid deployment, very specialized mission set. So they do some partner training. They'll go to Africa, and they'll train an African Army battalion in order to stabilize their region. Then you got the Rangers. The Rangers are a very elite training force as well. They are stationed out at Fort Benning. They've got a battalion. They've got a battalion at Hunter Army Airfield near Savannah. They've got a battalion up in JBLM in Fort Lewis in Washington. So they're spread across the country. They are a rapid response force for the United States Army. They go everywhere. They're a great force as well. I'm not going to get too much detail because, one, I'm not an expert on it, so I don't want to talk about it. But two, a lot of it's classified. All right. So then we got the light division. So we talked about them earlier. These guys are your guys who jump at airplanes. They rappel out of helicopters. They do all that kind of stuff. So you got from left to right, 10th Mountain Division, 25th ID, 82nd Airborne, and 101st Airborne Division. Somebody real quick, where was 10th Mountain located at? Anybody remember? No, not Colorado. It would make a whole lot of sense that the Mountain Division would be in Colorado, but they're actually not.
It's like
What's that? No, that's South Carolina. They were in New York. These guys were in New York, remember?
New York.
All right. Yeah, yes, unique, New York. I didn't realize, I didn't think we were going to get a Ron Burgundy reference today. Cool. Hey, good on you.
Yeah, who protects Area 51?
Who protects Area 51? It ain't me, that's for sure. I don't know. Luckily they survived the raid or the rave or whatever
Do
happened.
you guys actually have to do like training with like learning memes and stuff like that? Like I saw a bunch of videos
Learn
of like
memes?
army soldiers like why do you like
So,
doing briefings
so the cool, so here's the thing about that, right? So the cool thing is, a lot of the soldiers are your age, they're 18 and 24. So I follow things because they're the ones posting them. So I indirectly become pretty smart on stuff. Like I know a lot of dumb things that I probably shouldn't know at 35 years old, but I know them because I'm in the Army. The Army's good about keeping you very juvenile at times. And you have to know, like, you have to, like you're walking around and a soldier says something stupid, and you're like, I know what that means.
Do you know what the law is?
Yeah, if someone says to you like, okay, boomer, you gotta like,
I mean,
you can't be taking that stuff.
I mean, you got really stay up on all the newest, latest energy drinks too. It's like now you got rain and bang, and all this like, I don't know what's going on and stuff. No, but I mean, it's we laugh. But I mean, my soldiers when I was in command were your age. Who's your age? Who they took? Yeah. All right. So moving on from that, good question about Area 51. I appreciate it. You know, New York, well done. See if we can get any other, you know, topical movie references in. It'd be great. If we can go back to the 90s like Dumb and Dumber, I'd be even more impressed. All right. So moving on to the heavy divisions or the armor divisions, I like to refer to them. These are the guys that deploy to do regionally aligned training stuff. And I say regionally aligned training stuff because they go to Kuwait, they go to Germany, they go to Korea to provide additional security for that region of the world. So if something was to go haywire, go sideways, we would have somebody pre-positioned to handle it on behalf of our allies, you know, across the world. So that's their primary mission right now. That's what they do. Then on the bottom, we've got some cavalry guys. These guys are in Germany, Rose Barracks, Vilsec. Then you've got 3rd ACR. They're not really ACR anymore, but whatever. These guys don't exist anymore. I apologize for the dated slide. And then these guys are an airborne brigade, and they're in Italy. They're in Vicenza, Italy. Yes?
Why don't they exist? And what happened?
So when the Army gets smaller, or when the Army grows, we deactivate units. So this unit was actually deactivated as we got smaller.
So I guess the people that are in the units get like transferred.
Yeah. And, you know, so when we were in Iraq, what, 06 to 08, we surged. So the Army grew significantly over a short period of time. We stood units up, and then we had to break them back down because we didn't need them anymore. So, you know, Congress and the President dictate how many people we need in the Army, and, you know, when you don't need that many, you just get rid of units. You get rid of people. Like I don't kill them, but someday you just show up and you're like, well, you're not in the Army anymore. That's happened before. Well, it's a little more of a process, but essentially, there's some days you just come in and you're like, well, the board convened and you're no longer in the Army.
I don't feel like if you like run out though, right, anymore. Because I know like in World War II, if you were to just like abandon, like you just like choose to leave, like I don't know if it was either the Russians or Americans, but I know they would kill you. Like,
Well, yeah, the Russians definitely did that.
yeah, the
Oh yeah,
Russians.
the Red Army definitely killed people that were deserters. In the United States, we arrest our. You can be executed for desertion at a time of war, but for the United States, we don't generally do those things. We try to be on the right side of morality, but we're not always perfect, obviously.
I had a question, I forgot what it was.
They'll come back to you, I promise. If not, we'll stay around all day. All right. So any other questions about this? All right. So now I'm into the questions portion, but I've got a couple of really good questions early on, right? From other classes. So I'm gonna take the burden off you guys, and I'm gonna answer the questions from the earlier class to allow you more time to think about questions other than Area 51. And
What if you thought of those questions?
well, you know, should I raise your hand?
That's awkward.
Yeah. Well, it's awful.
I said it's awkward, but it's okay.
All right. Well, my life's ambition is to be as awkward as possible at all times. So, I was asked once before by a young lady in the first period class. She said, "Well, you know, why did you join? Why did you decide to join the Army?" Now, obviously, I mean, it's a pretty simple question, but it's nuanced, it's layered. you know, so obviously I come from a family that served. My father, uncle, cousin, brother, they've all served. So my grandfather served. So it was just kind of, I wouldn't say a rite of passage, just something that I was exposed to at a young age and understood. I spent my teen years and adolescent years going to see my cousin play football at the academy. He played football for the United States Military Academy at West Point, the Army football team. So that was an eye-opening experience to kind of got an appreciation for what military service was that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So we also have to remember the time when I kind of got into it. Go ahead, you're
I was gonna say, so like, does that mean like this was always your plan? Like after high school, you were gonna do?
yeah, for the most part, and I'll get to why
That
that.
was my question. But then you got put on, and I was like,
Oh yeah, I can go on diatribes sometimes, but I can just go like for like 40 minutes straight. Yeah, it's filibustering, what it is. All right, so that was part of it, but also I graduated in '02. So what happened in '01? What happened in my senior year, fall senior year? There you go, 9/11, right? So I was down the hall in Miss Plumley's calculus class when it happened, and I was downstairs in Miss Fulgerson's government class tracking the whole deal. So, you know, there was something to be said about like walking on the beach and looking up the shoreline and seeing the smoke. You know, there's something about it. And already being predispositioned to serve and wanting to serve, it just made all the more sense. I didn't go in right out of high school. My father, being a Vietnam War vet, told me, hey, do not just go to college, knock out that, then you can go join the Army forever as long as you want. So that's what I did. And I don't regret it one bit. I enjoyed my time. It's not without sacrifice, though. It's not without, you know, some things. Obviously, just the easy answer is like, yeah, go to combat. That's not fun, right? But there's also some other things that I missed. I mean, I missed a lot of family gatherings. Missed a lot of weddings. I think I missed every one of my best friend's weddings except for maybe one. This is this man's wedding right here. Dana Botto, married when I was in Iraq. Thanks a lot. I wish Cal would have pushed the date to the right a little bit. That way I could have.
We left an empty chair for him just in case.
Yeah, just in case I did a last minute show up.
that's so nice.
So, I mean, there are. I've moved probably 6 times in the last 4 years. I think I've had 6 addresses in the last 4 years. So, the ability to kind of put roots down and kind of get settled is not. It's not always there. So, why I didn't get out after my initial enlistment of 3 years and just kind of move back to Southern Ocean County, become a teacher, and kind of pursue what it is I wanted to do coming out of college. Well, I mean, the easy answer is I really loved what I did. And I'm passionate about what I did. And I hope passionate about what I do. I hope that resonates. I hope that's obvious to you because it kind of is a very easy segue for me. You know, you got 3 people in the room that are professionals, and Mr. Fierro, Mr. Avato, and myself. And we're all doing something we're incredibly passionate about. And we're all doing it and continue to do it because we love what we do. I mean, Mr. Avato played football his entire life. He lined up, you know, between the numbers over there for 4 years on the Southern Regional football team. I mean, now what does he do? Coach Southern Regional football because he loves the game. He loves mentoring kids, coaching kids, getting kids to get from one spot to another, to progress, and both education and on the field. As men, largely apart, because you got him from 14 to 18, very formal years. Fierro, the same thing. He played ball, graduated a couple years ahead of me. He was a quarterback. And then he played, point guard? You were a point guard for the national team?
Shooting guard, yep.
Shooting guard. Played with the other guy I know, Len Stanziano. I mean, now he's a basketball coach, he's a teacher. He's pursuing what he loves. So that's how you can find lifelong kind of happiness, I would argue, at least from my position. Is find something you're passionate about. If you're passionate about working with your hands, maybe a welder, maybe go to a trade school. Maybe if you love doing hair, go to college. If you love reading, if you love like being analytical and arguing a point, law school. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. So I offer that up, and it kind of just goes back to the question of like why I'm still in growth. And you guys don't have to know this right now. Life is a constant, evolving, learning experience. My career in the Army is going to end in about 6 years. And I've got to re-figure out what it is I want to do. Because I'm going to retire. Yes. Yes. Yep. So I will retire in about 6.5 years. And I will have to figure out what it is that I
Well,
do.
you have a
Yes.
you have a BA in history, right?
Yes. I do.
So would you consider moving to science?
What, teaching? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if it's something I want to do. What's up, brother? Anything you should know about? Like downside from the Army? Absolutely. I'll tell you a standard day in the Army. You wake up at 5:45 in the morning. You go stand in a formation for about 25 minutes, usually in the dark, and it's cold, especially if you're in Colorado, and you're wondering, what the heck am I doing? And then you go do PT with your group for about an hour, and then you go back to your room. You live in the barracks because you're a soldier. You can't live off post. You can't because you're not married. So you live in basically a college dorm. A college dorm that, like in college, you have TAs that are constantly going around checking on you. Now you have NCOs and leaders who are coming to check on you. So you have limited levels of privacy. So that's that. Then you go to DFAC, you eat the same food every day. Then you go to work. And then sometimes you just sit around, you're like, why am I at work today? Like, what am I doing? And that's a leader failure, first and foremost. So that ever happens, tell them this guy told you their leader screwed you up. But anyway, and then you just do, you'll go to the range some days, you'll go to the field some days, you'll be out in the cold, down in the rain, it'll be overnight, and then you'll likely go to the National Training Center and spend 3 weeks in the field. So I mean, that's like the worst. I mean, if you really want to be a cynic and look at it and be really kind of like, this is stupid, that's the lens you look at. But that is the reality. If you're in a mechanized organization, you spend a lot of time in the motor pool doing maintenance, turning wrenches, sweeping up after yourself, listening to people tell you what to do. I mean, there's give and take to every job, right? No matter what you do in life, unless you own your own business, you're not going to be the person telling you what to do. So the Army's like that. At one point, I was a lieutenant, where I was even a cadet, and I had to have someone tell me what to do. That's kind of the nature of the business. So you'll spend a lot of time at the range. You'll spend a lot of time running around, doing stuff. It's a busy lifestyle, that's for sure. Your 3 years at Fort Carson, say for instance you got stationed at Fort Carson, your 3 years at Carson, you'd probably spend about 2 years of those either in the field or deployed. Just kind of a rough, it's a high out tempo because, like I said before, the Army's smaller than it was 10 years ago, but we're still being asked to do the same level of things. We're still being asked to, being asked to do a lot. This is fun, why we're in it. We're in the work. We're not in to sit around and play darts and drink beer. So it has to be something you're passionate about if you're going to do it for a career. If you just go for 3 years and give it a shot, yeah, what the heck? What else you do? I mean, yeah, you can do a whole lot. What I'm saying is, might as well give it a shot if you're going to do it. If you ever had an interest in doing it, at least have a discussion with a recruiter if you want, or have a discussion with me. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Are you interested in going, or are you going?
I'm enlisting Wednesday.
You're enlisting, no kid. What are you doing?
National Guard.
Oh, that's great.
91 Bravo.
91 Bravo, so PLL clerk. You work at the box, you're making stuff.
Well, I'll be a wheel mechanic. I don't know if it's
Oh, wait, you should 91 Bravo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'll be a wheel mechanic. Oh, that's great, good for you. You know where you're stationed at yet?
For basic, I'll be in San Francisco, and then AIT, I'll be in Virginia.
Okay. Do you know what company you're in yet? They told you where you're going to be drilling out of?
No.
Okay, so the National Guard I'm glad you brought this up, because I was in National Guard when I was in college. I went to college tuition free, because New Jersey has a deal where you go to a state school, the National Guard pays you to go to state school. It's a cool opportunity, gives you 3 years, kind of figure out if this is what I want to do or not. You get a glimpse of what the Army actually is by going through basic training and all the other stuff. But then you come home and you go surfing on the week, you go back to your normal life in Long Beach Island or wherever it is you live, West Virginia or whatever. But that's probably, if I was to advise anyone here, if they were going to join the Army and they weren't really sure of it, give the National Guard a shot. Feel it out, see if it's what you want to do, and then you can make a jump over that. Usually I let you do that. I don't know how it stands now, but that's what I do. So, cool, good for you. Congratulations, man. Best of luck to you. Leaving what, June, I'm assuming, July?
July.
Okay, well at least you get the holidays, the family, if we have to go out. I didn't get that. I left like June 2nd, I was gone until like July, middle of July, so I missed everything. Go. Anyway, any other questions? Got people who need to leave, go to the book check, or is it period ending?
We got time. Yeah, plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Go.
Have you ever been close to like dying? Like in combat or whatever?
So yeah, I mean, I've been shot at. I wouldn't say I was in grave danger, but I was close to dying on an airborne operation. Yeah, jumped my last jump. My last jump was not a good one. Almost broke my neck. I'd be helicoptered out, go out to the hospital with a concussion. It was a bad day. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that was probably the closest I'd say. Yeah.
Like what's it like to be shot at? Is it like terrifying?
Think about like
It's not. It's super loud. It's exhilarating.
Well, explain it.
Well, I mean, you want me to explain the feeling? I mean,
Yeah, like I don't know that.
it heightens your sense of awareness, that's for sure. When it happens, you quickly snap into like self-preservation mode, and you figure out what you need to do to ensure that you aren't the one that meets his maker that day. What's up, brother?
How long did it take to get like used to it?
I mean, the best thing about the Army is we train a lot, so getting shot at wasn't that big of a deal. Like, so that's the best way I can answer that. Anything else? Go ahead.
What's the hardest thing that you had to give up? Or something that you missed?
So when I was deployed, the hardest thing I had to give up was probably just seeing family and just doing normal stuff, like going to sporting events, almost baseball. I mean, drinking beer, like drink beer while I watch a ball game. So I mean, just kind of your normal life. Just sitting in your recliner, watching a ball game, drinking a beer, you can't do that. Yeah, go ahead.
In the military, if you are in another country at 18 and is left drink.
So you're under General Order Number 1. You can't consume alcohol while you're on deployment. You can't really consume alcohol while you're in uniform at all.
Or like even reserve. I feel like.
Yeah, you're not governed by their laws. Just the same as in Colorado, where marijuana is legal, you can't smoke because it's a federal law that prevents you from smoking marijuana.
Yeah, it's not like you can't do it at all because like it's federally legal, so like it's like with police officers too, right?
Yeah, I guess. My brother's a police officer. I could ask him. But you know what? We do have a police officer here that I actually roomed with in college.
Yeah,
So
'cause my grandpa's a chief and he said that like even if you go to apply, if you've like done it even a year prior, you're automatically disqualified.
yeah, it depends on how rigorous they are with the screening process. In the Army, a lot of times they'll be like, if you've used it before, it's not a big deal. As long as you're not using it, now. As long as you don't use it while you're in, if you use it while you're in, you're gonna get kicked out. But yeah, if you've ever used drugs, it's not like a huge disqualifier.
Because I always like had the opinion that like if you're in the military and you're 18, like I feel you should be allowed to drink just because you're in the military.
Sure.
But like
Yeah.
if you carry a gun, you can.
No, that's a valid argument, but the same reason why an 18-year-old civilian can't drink is the reason why an 18-year-old soldier can't drink.
What's the rate?
Right, they lack the perceived level of maturity to be able to handle that type of inhibitor, right? But that's my political answer for you.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
I don't have a question, I have advice.
For me?
When you retire and then, you're looking for a job, don't become a comedian.
No, you're right. That's part of my charm, though.
Do you know how many times today you said that was a joke?
I would say 7. That was a joke.
Brady, that was so funny.
I can teach it, yeah. I do.
I wasn't trying.
No, I really appreciate your feedback. Hey, candid and honest feedback is always appreciated. I'll take that down.
Any other questions? Nada.
Do I see myself being married and having kids? Yeah, I hope so. One day. Nice. Let's see what happens.
Guys,
Thanks.
I'm just saying, I haven't seen Batman in a movie.
My mom's a
Is that directed at me?
enough kids my whole life.
Wait, what? Greg, what'd you say?
Oh, no, I was talking to
Oh, okay.
How close is the army with other branches of the military?
Pretty close. Yeah, we do as much together as we can. So when I was at school last year at the Naval War College, my entire squad group was all Navy, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force. So we do a lot. We try to, go join force. Well, good question. Thanks. Hey, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. So best of luck to you guys in your quiz next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.